for your business.
Okay, so my name is Jennifer Lundberg, and I'm an intuitive life coach. And what that means is I help people, but I have a little added bonus. I call it my BS meter because I have the intuitive side. So I can really see what's going on. I can see a little bit beyond, just what's going on with you. So the life coaching aspect of it, of course, came from my own struggle, right? Because we teach what we learn, what we know, how we can help other people, and how we can bless other people. So I started out with anxiety and fear and all of these things, and the more that I did the soul searching for myself, and the more, of course, I'm a Christian also. So Christian and psychic don't always go together, but for me they do. And so as I was learning all of these things for myself, at the end of that, I came out of it and I thought, oh my goodness, if I can help one person not live through the anxiety and the fear that I just lived through, then I'm going to be happy. And when I did that, I said, okay, you show me what you want me to do, and the doors have just then opened. I ended up taking the lead and writing a book. It's called Embodied Grace, A Woman's Path to Empowerment. Now I will say there's a lot of men, there are men that have read this that absolutely love the book. So what it is really is about learning to overcome the fear. So my business outside of real estate is an intuitive life coach. So I help you figure out what is it that you really want into life, what is it that you're not believing, right? Because we're talking about the Bible tonight. So it tells us ask, believe, receive. Well, the problem is we ask, but sometimes we ask in a way that's not it's more like, if you think I'm worthy of this, and God will be like, oh, here, let me give this, and you'll be like, wait, I don't know if I'm good enough, right? So we kind of reject it because we're not actually believing that we have the value or that we have the worth of the blessing that He actually wants to pour out for us. So you can't receive until you honestly believe that it's going to be okay and that there's not any fear, and that when you get past all the negative thinking, and in my book I call it the nasty little mean girl. So I'm sure the men have it too. I don't know what you would call that voice in your head, but for us I call it the nasty little mean girl. And it's when you get ready to do something and there's this little voice that says, oh, are you sure you want to do that? Not sure you're ready for that. That'd be a little bit scary. What if you lose everything? Right? In real estate, have we all felt that way? Oh my God, I'm going to invest all this money. What if I lose it? Well, what if you lose it? Right? I know that sounds so
One of the things that I thought was interesting is about 5 years ago we were listening to an interview that Donald Trump was doing on the television, and he one of the things he said, and I wrote it down, and I still have the notebook that I wrote it down in. And they were talking about people becoming millionaires, and he said if you're not willing to lose $1 million, you'll never have $1 million. And that's that kind of mindset. One of the other things that Zig Ziglar used to say all the time, and I love Zig Ziglar, you'll hear me talk about him quite often, is that the only fear that people have that is greater than the fear of failure is the fear of success. Some people are afraid that they're going to fail, so they don't do something. Some people actually are afraid that if they're successful, oh my gosh, what do I do if I'm successful? Those are the kind of things that tend to
You're saying that
hold
and
you
just
back.
joking, but you'd be surprised, like somewhere in our brain sometimes we think, if I am successful, then maybe somebody will leave me, or maybe they won't be my friends anymore. You'd be surprised when you dig into the subconscious and you learn. And I'm trained in NLP too, because I wanted to understand how our brain works. So neurolinguistic programming, I think does Bill teach it, or you teach that?
Absolutely, Bill teaches.
So he teaches on that. But when I took it, I didn't take it to learn how to use it. I took it to really understand and I didn't take it from Bill, so I haven't been in his class. But when I took that class, it was because I really wanted to learn what is going on in my brain that's causing this fear reaction, right? Because in anything, we can respond or react. Well, I was in that constant state of just reacting. It was a knee-jerk reaction to everything, and it usually was seated in fear and anxiety. Okay, that's with everything. It can be relationships, money, jobs, friendships, anything. It doesn't have to be just business. But the great thing about it is it applies to absolutely everything.
What about negative talk?
Negative self-talk. Negative talk are from other people. So it was the same thing. I ended up feeling like the way it connected for me, and I talk now as a Christian because we just were talking about the Bible. I don't preach that to anybody. I let them decide for themselves. But for me, what I realized was in a Beth Moore Bible study was that our generational sin doesn't have to be something so big. It can be something as simple as thinking negative or passing on lack mentality.
Let me give you an example of negative self-speak or negative self-talk. I won't tell you who this person is because he's a friend of mine. But we were in Las Vegas, and we were there for a success seminar. And we were walking through the bottom of the MGM Grand Hotel. And this person said to me, "Boy, I feel really bad." And I said, "Oh, don't say that, don't say that. Even if you don't feel really good, don't say that." About a minute and a half later, he goes, "Whew, I feel really bad." And I said, no, don't say that. You know, if you feel bad, that's fine, but you know, don't express it. You know. About 2-3 minutes later, he was like, "Man, I know I'm coming down with something." You know. Have you ever said that, or have you ever been with somebody who said that? You have an idea what they were doing? They were talking themselves into feeling bad. They were talking themselves into being sick. Okay? It's negative self-talk. Okay? Now, that's not to say that when you're feeling bad, you should lie and say, "I feel wonderful," when you know darn well you feel bad. But expressing the negative is basically not something that we should do if we want to continue to be successful in our lives.
And that comes down to everything is energy, okay? So this is the basic way that I try to explain it, because like I said, I do see a little bit beyond the normal, you know, what people see. It's because everything is energy, everything's energetic. So, and we learned that, right? In 3rd grade science, everything is energy. This chair, this microphone, me, the book, everything is energy, right? So when you speak, you create energy. When you think, you're creating energy. All of these things are creating, so you're really creating your life, whether you know it or not. So the one thing that I do want to get real quick about the book is, in this, it doesn't matter who you talk to, but, or if you are looking at wanting to do real estate and you're scared and you're stuck, find somebody to help you, because chances are there's some kind of limiting belief, right? Because your family may not have ever done real estate. You may not have ever done it before, and it's scary. There's all of these limiting beliefs that you can get in the back of your head. A lot of it sometimes is maybe you don't think you're good enough. You know, I'm guilty of that. The anxiety and the fear that comes with money because of the way we've been taught, right? Because we've been taught to be careful with your money and save it and put it in the bank and all of those things. At least in my generation, that's what we were taught. And so there's sometimes all it is just a matter of really looking at what the fear is that's holding you back, and then just taking the step. Because once you start taking the steps, it starts creating movement, and then once you start creating movement, then the action happens, and the next thing you know, it's just a flow. So if you haven't started, I'm going to challenge you all to do one thing to get started, right? Who here is currently active and doing real estate? Okay, who hasn't started yet? There's a couple people.
There's got to be a few people.
Yeah, is there any reason that, like, if you guys will play with me, if not, we don't have to go there, but if you'll tell me one reason why you haven't started, then we can work through it and kind of break that energy, and then I'm going to challenge you to, tomorrow, make a step, one tiny action step. Like, if you could have exactly what you wanted tomorrow, and there was no money involved, or nothing holding you back, what would it be? Would you want a new car? Would you want to buy a rental? Would you want to buy something for your house? Like anything. What is one thing that you want? Anybody? Rental. A rental. So if you wanted a rental and you want to get that tomorrow, what's one thing that you could do tonight that would be an action step to look for a rental?
Talk to me.
As I say, there's all these people. All you've got to do is make some phone calls, right? And I know that sounds silly, but you guys, it really works. Like, for the longest time last summer, I was like, I need a new car, because I had kind of a gas hog, and I needed just something to zip around town, because I've been doing a lot more meetings and getting to town a lot more. And I kept saying I needed a new car. Well, I wasn't doing anything about it. I just kept saying I needed a new car. As soon as I said I need a car, and I had to think this, right, because I'm creating, but I was trying to create, but there wasn't any specifics to create from. So as soon as I said I want a new car, I want something little that I can zip around town in, I really like silver, I want leather and heated seats, and I want a sunroof. And I'm not kidding, 3 days later, I was driving on the highway and I saw in the, at Brighton Ford, I was like, oh, there's my car. And I literally signed on it that afternoon.
I don't want to give you all whiplash, but I'm going to ask you a question. What is gap funding?
Okay, we're gonna go, now we're gonna get on the real estate part. So, on the real estate side of it, we have Lonberg Real Estate Investment Group, and we do have some gap funding money. So gap funding is when, say that you're in the middle of a fix and flip, and you're on the downhill side, but you still need like $25,000, $15,000, something just to kind of fill the gap to finish out the flip that you're gonna do, and you just need it for a little amount of time. That's what gap funding, and that's where we can help you on the real estate side.
Okay, so Jennifer, if somebody wants to sit and talk with you about getting over that hump, getting started, or moving to a higher level in their real estate business, and they're just a little unsure about getting over that hump and getting it done and getting it started, what should they do?
Get a hold of me. I have cards out here. I have a table out there. We can send an email, and I actually do a 15-minute free call. Usually goes a little bit longer than that, but technically it's a 15. I talk a lot. So you can sign up and get a 15-minute free call. I call it a discovery session just so that we can see where you're at, what you need, how I can best help. Sometimes it's a matter of something simple like marketing or getting on the right email list, right? So it's just however I can help you and whatever it is that's going on for your specific situation.
Okay, how about questions? Anybody got questions for Jennifer?
Man, you guys are quiet tonight.
Life coach questions, questions about gap funding.
She's got
There's a good word. Gap funding, go ahead.
So, do you see auras, or what is it that you see energetically?
Okay, so this is my little woo-woo side. I have always been able to see the spirits, people, Jesus and the angels. I actually grew up in the Methodist church, and when I was little, I would see Jesus and the angels in the church with us, and of course they thought it was cute because I was little, and then the older I got, I thought, oh, this isn't really going away, and so it just depends. The other thing I do is energy work, and so I can actually kind of look inside and kind of blow up your aura and see if there's like a destiny or a fear or a negative belief that we need to kind of clear out. And it's the same in the Bible. It's like hands-on healing. So it really, I'm not doing anything. It's all God doing it. But if I can help you see, where two or more are gathered, you can see what's going on. So if I can help you kind of see, okay, what is this? Let's just clear it out. And we just kind of clear the energy. And so yeah, it's different.
Okay,
You
sure.
didn't have to learn it if you were born.
Oh, yes, I was born with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we all have that intuitive sightedness. We all have a God spark, whether we know it or not. So here's the book. I have it tonight. You can get it at the table if you're interested. If you have any questions, you guys, please feel free to ask. I'm here to help. I literally thought real estate was so cool about 10 years ago, and I really wanted to do it, but didn't have any idea what to do, right? So the funny thing is, I end up being a speaker at a women's group, and the next thing I know, I'm meeting all of these amazing women. Dwan came in and spoke a couple months after me, and here we are.
Okay, so we're going to take about a 10-minute break. Okay, and that's going to give you guys a chance to go out and talk to Jennifer out at her table that's out in the hallway. I'm also going to give you a chance to talk to some of the other vendors that are out there. And then in 10 minutes, you're gonna hear somebody ringing a bell out there in the hallway. And that means come on back in because we're going to start our team.